Welcome to Show, Don't Tell, a podcast by TelScreen's team of Wes Harris and Kent Harris, sharing their stories of being in the eye care industry in their unique, punny style with facilitator Christy. Okay, are we ready for this?
We're ready for this.
So we can't really go off the rails if we never started on the rails in the first place.
True.
Well, we started on the rails. It's just those with the electrified ones.
And this is how we're just going to start the show.
Exactly.
It's rolling.
It's already rolling.
In case you missed that intro music, here it is now.
Great. Okay, welcome everybody to this episode of
Show, Don't Tell.
With your hosts,
Wes Harris.
And my brother, Kent Harris.
They did that for each other, just so you know, in case you don't know these guys already. And I am their marketing help.
Christy.
That's right. Also known as?
Some people say there's no help for us, but
Well,
we disagree.
that's why I said it that way.
But we found the Wonder Woman of marketing.
That's right. Well done. Thank you for stepping right into that like I wanted you to. So for those who may not, like, this might be your first episode, you may or may not know the humor behind these guys who are also engineers.
There's humor.
Sometimes. So our what I call the proverbial green room is we start having these conversations so that I can get the content of what's coming up in the upcoming months and events and things like that. So we know how to prep for information that you guys may have questions about. And sometimes we get a little, as you heard, off the rails. And if we never start on the rails, we never get off the rails.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but we're making it official. We're officially, say it 3 times, it makes it even more official, talking about
the Gold System.
Yes.
Yay.
It's about daggone time.
And there was much rejoicing.
That's right.
It was an Olympic effort to get this thing released.
Kinda. It's what it felt like. I mean, I've never actually given birth, but it's taken a long time, and it kind of feels that way around here. But we have been excited about it because we've told people, like, pay attention, go check it out. It has been out there now for a few months.
And we taught our 3D printer how to print curves, so it's not all blocky anymore.
Yeah, we added a team member, the 3D printer.
That's right.
So, don't let me keep doing this. Tell the audience all about what makes the Gold System such a big deal for us.
So in the beginning, there was a Gold System, and it was as good as it could be back then in the beginning. And every so many years, technology advances, needs to be refreshed, and we're trying now to have 3 price points that we hit with the best possible technology at each price point. And our diamond system that we introduced in 2021 was the best we could do under $20,000, and its show Special Vision Expo West will be $16,500. The platinum system has been a workhorse for a lot of years. We're down to the last run of factory refurbished cameras, but that gives a middle-of-the-road quality, image quality at $13,500 price point, which it's still a 3-chip sensor. It's still got some amazing software algorithms to run so that you don't have to be a photographer. You just have to step on the foot pedal. But that's our mid-range system, our platinum system for $13,500. The lower end of the market, the introductory end of the market, has always been tough for us because our standards have always been so high. We want it to be darn near perfect, and you can't do perfect for under $9,000. I mean,
because there's a lot that goes into it. You guys provide more value than what people might expect.
Right. So many of the competitors out there are doing just camera only, and you plug it into your computer, and you get software downloaded on the internet that grabs a frame from a camera or something like that. But there's no patient database. There's no dedicated hardware for.
There's no organization of the image. They're hoping that you're going to just somehow magically get this image from their capture software, which could have been factory that came with the camera, just free software that came with the camera to demonstrate the camera, to capture an image and then ship it to your EHR. And they're going to just hope that just magically works. And some of them invested in some software to try and transfer and automate that process.
Or there's an app to get it off of a smartphone and into the cloud somewhere, and then from the cloud to a computer where you now have to match it up with a patient record and get it into the right spot in your computer, in your system. And so we always thought that was not really true to our mission of complete imaging system. Let the doctor be the doctor and not have to become a photographer or an IT technician or a computer database operator to actually make this work seamlessly in their clinic without taking all their time.
Right.
And so our gold system, we're excited about it because for the first time we've got a really good sensor. It's a one-chip sensor. That's where you save your money. We're not spending for 3 chips of image sensing and separate color channels. So it is a one-chip sensor, but it's a pretty good one. I was actually surprised at how good a cornea cross-section looks with this camera. It was good enough that I was okay putting TelScreen on it.
And in technical terms, this is pixel density. That's one of the main metrics we use of rating different qualities of cameras. Obviously, besides pixel density, there's a lot of other metrics you can look at, but pixel density kind of gives you a good starting point to say, hey, where's this going to fall in the spectrum of cameras?
So I would say pixel density and signal to noise ratio.
Sure,
those are the two that are really going to put it in a bin on an XY axis. You can look at those two things, put a dot on the map for this particular camera, and have a pretty good idea how it's going to stack up to the rest of the world.
Okay, so for people who are either just now entering their career, so that introductory price point is going to be really good for them starting their brand new practices.
So again, if you think about brand new practice, a lot of times you're building it on a shoestring, especially if you're coming out of school with a significant debt load. And many students are coming out as young doctors, and they're taking jobs wherever they can find them for 5 years or more to make a dent in the student loans and be able to pay that down so they can afford a home, a car, a practice of their own. And one of the things that gets compromised usually is I'm going to open my practice. It's going to be one furnished exam room at the start, even if I have space for 2 or 3. And I may have to furnish the first exam room with primarily used or reconditioned equipment just to save money on building out the practice at the start. And the idea here is you can have a nice gold system with a new computer, new camera, new cables tucked away and hidden. And it's a complete system that does everything you need it to do, so you don't have to spend your time being a photographer or an IT specialist to actually use it.
So I do want to go back to pixel density, and you said signal to noise ratio.
SNR.
Okay, so why are those things, why is that a big deal?
So when you look at pixel density, that's basically looking at how sharp of an image can you get. It's a measure of resolution. How fine of an edge can I resolve? There's a lot of other terminology out there for describing resolution, but pixel density for a 2-dimensional sensor, that's telling you how many sensors do you have per square inch of sensing area. And
so I'm guessing this is going to be the difference between my 19-inch 1980 TV versus my 2023.
Right. If you're looking at the flat screen when things went to 4K, 4K was a big deal because prior, several generations before that, NTSC was 640 by 480, and that was 480 scan lines, right? It was in terms of number of scan lines vertically. So you had 480 lines on your television set that were getting updated with your picture frame.
And they were interlaced, so you did the even numbered lines first and then the odd numbered lines second, which is another aspect of resolution. If you ever remember the old British Open golf coverage, you would see the ball in the air and it would move to the right and then it would flick back to the left, and then it would move to the right and it would flick back to the left. That's because you had an interlaced television set and you had 50 hertz sampling for Great Britain. So you only had 25 cycles per second for each half of the even and odd lines. So now you're seeing the even lines moving the ball to the right, and then the odd lines yanking it back to the left. So those types of things are kind of embedded in.
That really comes across over audio.
You can't see my hands moving, right?
Nor can you see my face going, oh my God, this is so fascinating. Wait, let me see if I get this or not.
Go look on YouTube for old British Open coverage.
Right. Well, anything from the 80s at all on YouTube is going to be that smaller frame. Now, I understand, like, frame size.
Yeah.
I always thought that meant the frame size, but that's not what you're talking about
if
here.
you hear numbers like, because people who've been around computers are used to seeing that desktop screen menu that says, oh, are you running at 640 by 480 or 1024 by 768? And you're like, oh, what are all these numbers mean? I don't know. It's smaller when I go bigger. Right?
Yes, that's what I'm getting to.
So in this case, when you're looking at desktop numbers, your monitor that you're displaying this on is a fixed size. That's not changing. You can change your desktop settings all you want. The monitor is the same size. Well, if you go and you display more pixels on the same size, you've got a higher pixel density. You've got finer adjustments on being able to see the detail, and the impact is it looks smaller because you've compressed. If you're at 640 by 480, you would divide your screen size into 640 bins horizontally and 480 vertically. That would be the size of a bin. Would be 1/480th
Easy for
of
you
the
to say.
vertical, 1/640th of the horizontal level. And that would be, compared to if you're doing 1600 by 1200, it would be 1/1200th. So you'd see you'd be a lot smaller. Your bins would be a lot smaller. You'd have a lot more detail in terms of showing a difference in a different color or a different, if you're trying to display a pixel color, if you're trying to display red, white, and blue, or red, white, and green, or red, green, and blue, or whatever color you're trying to display, if you make it up out of smaller dots, it looks sharper. And it's a matter of your magnification. Well, that's part of that whole optical system. But if you get right down to it, you had so many dots, you had a certain size. That was your pixel density of that display. Well, we're trying to say, what's the pixel density of the sensor that's actually viewing the scene that you're going to later display?
Yeah.
If your camera is the 640 by 480 camera and you're trying to display that on a 4K monitor, well, there's a magnification conversion in there somewhere.
You're stretching your limited information across a bigger screen.
Yeah. So if your display device has a really high precision, then you would like your camera device to also have a high sensing, high capture capability.
And this is why I like to bring these subjects up and ask the seemingly maybe, obvious, not so smart questions, because I don't want to call myself stupid. I'm not. I just this is fascinating to me. I'm not in the industry. I don't use these things, but how does it benefit me if I'm sitting in the chair? And what should geek out my doctor about this imaging system to benefit me?
Wait till we start talking about airy discs. It's tough to say that on the radio.
But
what do you mean, Ari? You can say that all you want. You don't have no disc. You're supposed to have a wand, you bloody fool.
oh boy.
Rails.
Apologies to any copyrights I just infringed.
Nobody needs to know. But it also gives the audience, if you've not heard them before, or if you've even seen them at a trade show, you've had these conversations with these guys. They know their stuff inside and out historically, and you know all of the reasons why. You don't just make this stuff up. You are in it, you know it, and this is why your level of expectation and excellence is different than other companies that are out there, and there's a reason why you've waited so long to get this out.
The part of our process is matching quality across the whole system. So there's no point wasting money on a great camera if your monitor can't display it. There's no point wasting money on a great monitor if you don't have enough resolution from your camera. So balancing those things, trying to make sure that the whole system design is not wasting any money anywhere. And sometimes the answer is you get a little bit better because it's cheaper because they make more of them. So it's an economic analysis as well as a technical analysis.
Which the gold is also good for those that have a lot of lanes, right?
Exactly. So the problem that we've heard quite often in the past 30 years is, I'd really like to have your imaging system, but I have too many lanes. What that means is you've been really successful, you've built a great practice, you're seeing a lot of patients,
Or you've joined a group and did a fantastic job building a group of outstanding eye doctors that can cover a wider area, and you have multiple locations, and you can service a wider coverage more efficiently and split that among everybody.
Sure, yeah, geographic footprint. I've got 4 locations. Each location has 3 exam lanes. Now I've got 12 exam lanes, and I've got too many lanes to put a diamond imaging system in every lane.
And I can't have one lane, one place that has it and one that doesn't, because then the doctor in that lane will get unhappy about, hey, I don't have the right tools, and why are you spending on this on your lane and not on my lane? And so you'll cause office drama if you don't apply technology. If you don't apply technology uniformly across your practice, or at least make it available
or in some fair manner, in some manner that everyone else is going to think is fair.
Right.
Yeah. So to solve that problem, the Gold System is now affordable enough that you can put it everywhere you have a slit lamp.
And if you find that you're not, if you find that the cases that you see need additional resolution or need more than what you have, with our system, you can upgrade it. You're not locked in to, oh, well, this is the only one that fits that slit lamp. I guess it's throw away the whole slit lamp to get a new imaging system. And that's kind of what our competitors have done, because they designed imaging systems. Well, I think one of the reasons is that they saw the advantage of, hey, it's easier if we can sell more slit lamps. Let me design a slit lamp that has this imaging system on it, and that's that thing. It's one thing with,
It's
slit
like
lamp with
having an
imaging.
Apple product.
Yeah. Let's pull on the slit lamp sale with the imaging system, and make you get rid of your old slit lamp and buy our new one. Which, it's the latest and greatest, and we're proud of our slit lamps, but we want to lock you in with our slit lamp and our imaging system as one big bundle. And if it doesn't work for you, there's really no upgrade path. There's other than throw it away and buy something else.
Or sell it used and buy a new one, right? Try and take the used car approach of, I drove it for 3 years, I was happy or I didn't, and I'm either going to buy another one just like it, or I'm going to buy the next better model and sell my old one and try and get as much as I can off of it, even though you lose a third of it driving it off the lot.
Oh, decisions when it comes to technology for your practice.
So we want to make sure that we had an upgrade path that says, if you discover that now that you're using imaging everywhere, there are cases where you'd like more resolution, then you can have more resolution. And you don't have to throw away the computer or the slit lamp or the database or all the patient records that you've got. You
don't have to lose the dollar of your investment. I mean, when it comes to implementation, we might switch your computer out because it's better for this or that. But you're going to get the full value of what you invested before, and you're going to end up paying the difference.
And you guys don't just ship it and say good luck. You guys are on the road a lot.
Yeah.
Your team is there helping and on site, walking everybody through it.
In limited cases, when you have an established IT company that has done equipment installations for you, and they're fully capable of taking a few instructions on the phone or getting a little remote assistance, then yes, we will offer a remote installation option.
Yeah. But typically, if you've had our imaging systems before and you're familiar with the software and the layout and how it works, and now we're just doing a technology refresh, then it's fairly easy to support a remote upgrade in which you can use your IT talent and the hands that you already are paying for in your practice to do the work, and we can provide the oversight and the expertise to make sure that the final product actually is an EyeRes system and not something that looked like it fell off a truck and landed a certain way.
But for most people, when it comes to putting a camera on a slit lamp and the optics and adjusting that and parfocling and doing all the things you have to do to get a great imaging system, well, IT folks aren't trained for that. That's not what they went to school for. It's not the stuff that they do. And they're usually more than happy to say, hey, why don't you have those guys come in and install it, and then we'll maintain some, on the technology. The computer interface side of the product, they'll help maintain. And we certainly partner with them. We're not trying to say, no, look, you got to do everything through us. We're not trying to lock you out of getting support, because we recognize if you've got a trusted team that you've been using and are happy with, we want to support that team and so that you're still happy.
Now, you guys also mentioned you have special pricing right now because Vision Expo West is coming up.
Vision Expo West is coming up in Las Vegas at the end of September. And
on the calendar, I think.
Yes, it's August already.
I know, it is August officially.
So at the end of next month, Vision Expo West, the Gold System will be available for $9,000, and that will fit most slit lamps that have a magnification wheel.
But you can get a slit
A
lamp.
drum magnifier. If you don't like your current slit lamp, or if your current slit lamp has been an old faithful friend for 40 years and you're ready to have a new faithful friend, then we can add a slit lamp, a tower style slit lamp, for $4,000. So slit lamp and imaging system, $13,000.
So if you were ever thought, I've always wanted an imaging system, but I can't afford it, we're taking that away. You can afford an imaging system now.
You guys are fantastic that way. I know we've talked about all of this stuff, behind the scenes and prepping for all of the things and letting people know about it. But just having this conversation, knowing the reason why you put so much effort into developing a system that is budget friendly, easy to use, excellent quality. It's not really like a 1950s TV. So that's just me trying to
Ask
make
Pat the story about his 1950s TV.
Oh, no,
repair-
there's
Yes, there's a story there.
His repair stories.
Of course there's more stories. It does make me feel good that I'm working with you guys, from our dynamic level. So I can't imagine how the doctors feel that work with you, knowing that you have put that much effort. It's like you put a little bit of your heart into each machine that goes out there.
It's interesting you say that. I took a phone call today from a customer in Ohio, and she wasn't calling about imaging at all, but she said, my autorefractor broke. Do you guys repair those, or do you sell those? Because she bought an imaging system from us, and she liked what we did.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we don't meddle with autorefractors. We try to stay in our lane. But I did refer to someone who lives and breathes autorefractors the same way we do digital imaging.
Which is you guys are about building those relationships, because that's really what growing business is all about. Yes, you have a product. Yes, you've developed this and you've put your time, effort, and talent into that to sell it in the marketplace. But the whole reason is to provide value to the person that's using it.
We want you to succeed. We really do, because we know that we won't succeed unless you succeed. This is a team effort. If all the equipment vendors would get on board and think that way of, wait a minute, we're supplying a pick and a shovel to the people that are doing the hard work doing eye care. And if we would get on board and realize that, hey, this is a team effort to support the eye care industry, and yeah, we're going to compete among ourselves. Of course we are. We each have our different unique strengths and talents to bring to it. But
And
if
competition makes us all better. So we're not afraid of competition. Competition is a good thing. But the idea that there are some organizations that are all about hitting their sales numbers, regardless of whether you end up happy or less than thrilled. And they don't care as long as they hit their numbers. And their salespeople are so incentivized that you have to sell products and check boxes and get to certain numbers across all categories so that you get the trip to Hawaii at the end, or whatever the reward of the day is.
I got to get the bonus. I'm thinking the Jerry Maguire line.
Yeah. So, but that's not the partnering with our customers that we do.
Right.
That's the selfish goal. I have to get this, and so you buy it and then go away. And we look at it more like we want to make sure that we work together, that you don't ever resent having bought something from TelScreen because we left you holding the bag and it's not a bag that you wanted to hold.
Right, and I know that you guys love getting the updates. I love hearing like the success stories. Hey, I used this imaging system for this client, and this is what it did for them. I love hearing the success stories.
Yeah. The end result has got to be patients that are more compliant with treatment and therefore having better outcomes.
Yes.
Because they could see what was going on, and that helped them to trust you as a doctor, that what you saw and what you told them was really what's going on with their eye, and therefore they can believe the diagnosis. Now they need to put their faith in the treatment and work the process all the way to the end, come back for follow-up visits, because they're now important report card data points for them, not just another 5-minute chat with a doctor and there's my copay. So the idea that by providing imaging to help patients understand and to help keep them compliant with a therapeutic plan, then they're going to benefit more from your expertise. And their lives will be better because they listened and acted appropriately. So if we can help people to do that, then that has the bigger impact on the earth. That's what we care about.
I just want to say, aw.
And now a kitten video.
We want better eye care for you and your little dog, too. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Are we over time now?
There with those rails again.
Hate Rails.
Clearly.
There's a programming language called Ruby on Rails, just in case you wondered. I don't program in it.
Well, I didn't wonder. So.
Because he hates Rails.
Okay, last question. Do you guys have your information about Vision Expo West? Do you know your booth number yet?
Oh, no, we have no idea.
Oh, okay. We just know you're going to be there.
It's somewhere.
We're going to be in the front corner.
Yeah,
Okay.
front
By the
left,
bathrooms.
front left corner. Yeah. We're getting older now. We have to put our booth space more strategically.
And on that note, is there anything else that you wanted to include in this episode?
Come check out all of our great systems at www.TelScreen.com.
As well as past episodes and maybe blog articles if I can get Wes to get them done.
What's a blog article?
Thanks, everybody, for enjoying this episode. Let us know if you have any questions. You can also fill out that contact form at TelScreen.com, and it will go straight to the guys, and you can ask any of those questions there, and one of them will reply back. Thanks.
Or both of us. You never can tell.
You never know what you're going to get around here some days.
You didn't tell me I had to respond to those emails, did you?
Yeah, no, nobody needs to see my face right now. Again, thank you, everybody. Pay attention. Hit subscribe if you find us on YouTube or your listening channels. Visit the website. Pay attention to the social channels if you're not following us already. Follow us on Facebook. You can also check us out on Instagram. We let you know when new episodes drop there as well. So thank you again for listening to this episode of
Show, don't tell.